Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for your patience. I'm very excited to be doing this with you. Welcome, everyone. My name is Stella Kosibuji. It's an honor to be moderating this space today. It's an honor to be moderating this space today. I want to specially thank Tolu Combs and Nigerian Women in Public Relations for this opportunity. I just want to say happy World PR Day. I hope you've had a very nice day. So I just want to know, how has your day been? You can just use emoji to sort of tell me how your day has been. Thank you. I see the emojis. Thank you so much. We are very happy to celebrate this day with you all, and thank you so much for joining us. Out of all the places you could be, you're currently here with us. We say thank you very much. Please, if you have questions and feedbacks for us, you can just jot them down. After the session, we'll allow speakers to ask their question and give their feedback. Today is World PR Day, and we celebrate it to present a unified global agenda to help make the world a better place and to make the world understand and utilize public relations. The World PR Day also offers us an opportunity to reflect on the significance of our profession and the pivotal role we play in shaping strategies, influencing perception, and driving meaningful connections. If you're in the public relations space, you're doing a great job. We see your work, and we just want to say, keep doing great work. This space is proudly brought to you by Nigerian Women in Public Relations. And for some people that do not know us, Nigerian Women in PR is a social impact organization that was set up to advocate and provide growth resources to Nigerian women working as public relations and communications professionals across the world. We have various programs with our annual Experiencing PR conference. We also have PR Student Summit. We have the Swiss Youth Acceleration Program, PR Business Training, and so many great programs which we hold on a regular basis. We also have complementary trainings for people that will want to upskill and grow. Nigerian Women in Public Relations will say we are a resource hub for learning and professional growth of all our members. And the good part is you can become a member. It's very easy. Just fill your form and you're added to the close community. And one key thing we're interested in is promoting the understanding and the value of public relations as a profession. So one of the goals of this space is to promote the understanding and the value of public relations. Thank you so much. We appreciate our esteemed guests for their continuous support. We have three brilliant professionals with us today to share with us their knowledge, lessons, and insights. Are you excited? I'm very, very excited. I don't know if anyone is excited, but if you're excited, I want to see your favorite emoji so I know that people can hear me and they're excited because it promises to be very insightful. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. So I will be introducing our guest. So we start right on the conversation for today. In no particular order, I'll be introducing our guests. We have Mabel Adeteye. We also have Joyce Ahedome and Lesu Jolu Eti Eric Wambuze with us today. Thank you so much for joining. I'll be introducing and reading Ms. Mabel's profile. Mabel is currently the head of brands and marketing communications at Wema Bank. Mabel is an official member of the Forbes Communication Council. She's an exceptional brand communications expert specializing in strategic communication, brand management, and public relations. With an impressive 15 years of experience, She has excelled in various areas including strategy, marketing communication, brand and product management, digital media marketing, event planning and management, CSR and sustainability. In her 15 years career, Mabel has showcased her extensive knowledge, expertise, and professional judgment when managing numerous high-profile communications initiatives for both local and international brands. She's a had she's an accredited public relations specialist from the Chartered Institute of Public Relations (UK), Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, accredited in digital marketing, integrated communications, and marketing from the Chartered Institute of Marketing (UK). She is also an alumnus of the Department of Business Administration of the prestigious Babcock University, Ahmadu Bello University, and the Lagos Business School. She is a member of the world's largest and most influential PR and communications membership body, that is the Public Relations and Communications Association (UK). Miss Mabel, you're welcome. We just want you to say hi to us. You're welcome to today's space. We just want to hear your voice. Hello. Oh, okay, I don't know if you can hear me, but I'll be moving on to the next guest we have today. We have Joyce Sakati Ahidome. She is a communications professional and president, Women in PR Ghana. She is an accredited public relations specialist with a wealth of expertise spanning communication, stakeholder relations, brand communication, and change management. She has amassed recognition for her outstanding contributions, earning a place among the top 10 public relations women in both 2019 and 2021, as honored by Women in PR Ghana. Joyce has established herself as a beacon of hope and a source of joy. She channels this positivity through the Girls Go Getters, a platform she founded to empower women to read, lead, excel academically, set and achieve ambitious goals. She holds a master's degree in development management from Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration and a bachelor's of arts in communication study from the esteemed Ghana Institute of Journalism. You're welcome, Joyce. Please, if you can say hello to us, we just want to hear your voice.
Hi, hello. I'm sure you can hear my voice. Hello.
Yes, we can.
Um, yes, I'm happy to be here. And you know what? When you were mentioning my name, it sounds. I'm like, okay, is that me? So it's Sakite Ahiadome. And I'm sure you can just stick to Joyce. I
Okay,
know it's a mouthful.
thank you
Yes.
so much.
So it's Joyce Sakite Ahiadome. Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and happy World PR Day to you too.
Thank you. Happy work here. Thank you so much. Okay, to our next speaker for today, let's see Jolu, Leti, Eric, Wambuzi. I'm hoping I got the name correctly. Leslie Jol Leslie Jolu is the executive director of the Coms Avenue. She is a visionary communicator and inspirational leader communicated to championing Africa's strategic development and storytelling through communications excellence. Her 15-year career spans commercial and non-profit sectors, where she has implemented robust strategies to unify stakeholders behind clear visions. As executive director at the Coms Avenue, she oversees initiatives to nurture the next generation of African communications professionals through training, mentorship, and industry opportunities. She is dedicated to elevating communications mastery on the continent, empowering practitioners to authentically shape the continent's narrative with influence and dynamism, and believes this approach will unite, dismantle barriers, and elevate Africa's global standing. She holds law degrees from Obafemi Awolowo University and the Nigerian Law School, a certification in brand strategy and marketing communications, and a leadership certification from Harvard Kennedy School of Government. You're welcome, Leslie. We are glad to have you here.
Good evening.
You can just say hi to us.
Good evening, everyone. It's both a pleasure and an honor to be on this space tonight. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So we'll be going into today's discussion, but I just want everyone that's listening, if you're not following Nigerian Women in Public Relations, please follow us across our social media platforms, because there's regular training, complimentary training for PRO professionals that want to upskill and grow. And you can also be a member, a premium member, if you have more than 5 years experience in public relations and communication. So I just want to maybe are you here with us? We didn't hear your voice. Just want to check. Hello, maybe are you here? Okay, I don't know if that's network issue, but I just wanted to confirm she's here with us. So we'll be going into the conversation right about now. So my first question will be going to Lesi Jolu, and it's about what PR day. So I was just thinking, and I know that everyone listening wants to know. We know that we are seeing a lot of events, a lot of activity, and um, just maybe join again. So I just want to know, let's see, how do you think the World Public Relations Day can be celebrated to make it more impactful, to ensure that everyone gets to know the impact of public relation due to the celebration of the World Public Relations Day? So I just want to get your own perspective on how the World PR Day can be celebrated to make it more impactful. Sorry, can anyone hear me? Hello, can anyone hear me? I don't know if but mm, can anyone hear me? Can anyone hear me? Let's do Jolu. Can you hear me? Okay. Please, if you can hear me, let's do Jolu. Please unmute your mic. Joyce, please, can you hear me? Mm. Joyce, can you hear me? I do not get. I'm not hearing any response, so I don't know why. Good evening, everyone. Joyce, can you hear me? Please, if you can hear me, can you send an emoji so I know that you can hear me? That's not my network. Okay, super. Thank you so much. So, Joyce, since you're on and you can hear me, I just want to get your feedback, your perspective on how you think the World Public Relations Day can be celebrated to make it more impactful. So I think let's Lorna, you can unmute. You're a speaker, so you have right to speak. Joyce, you also have right to speak, and maybe you have right to speak also. So your speakers.
Good, good. So you actually muted us. So once you're the host and you muted us, we could not unmute ourselves. So that was what was happening.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Exactly. So we could hear you, yes, but it says you've unmuted us. So okay, good, good. Now we are co-hosts, so we can manage it. Would
Yeah.
you want me to go ahead, or you want to ask Leslie Julu first? If not, let me just go ahead since we have some time spent. I believe that World PR Day is a fantastic idea. In fact, having been in this profession for over the last 12, 11 years, it's exciting to see that there is a day that has been set aside to actually celebrate the impact and the value that we bring onto the profession, not just the profession, but I believe with all the brands, the organizations, and then the activities and the initiatives that we do. Now, the question is that how can we make this more impactful? I think it's quite young. For me, it's almost like 4 years now since I've heard of World PR Day, and this will be the second year where it's actually being celebrated in Ghana. So one is to give it more publicity, but I would like more to see us, and us, by us, I mean Women in PR Ghana, as well as IPR, of which I'm a member of, and other organizations come together, have a project that is nationwide, and also is a burning platform for the nation. So, for instance, currently in Ghana, Galamsey is an issue. We have an election that is coming up in December, and also we have unemployment that are key issues. We could come together and decide that for the festival, either it could be a festival or a day or a week, we could use that time to champion and have discussions, either discussions or initiatives that are targeting and providing solution using the power of PR to these key challenges that are happening in the country. And I believe that it could be same in other countries as well. Or we could come together and talk about the African narrative, that what is changing, because we are storytellers, right? So what is changing about the African narrative and how can we gain from it? So if you ask me, that will be my answer for how we can make World PR Day more impactful.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. More publicity so that more people get to hear it. Thank you. Leslie Jolu, would like to get your perspective on that also.
Okay. So, in my opinion, PR practitioners have become a little insular in celebrating World PR Day. So it's PR practitioners celebrating PR practitioners, talking about changes in PR, but it's all within the context of the industry. I think that for greater impact, especially because it's a recurring theme that we're not valued and appreciated outside of the industry in the way that we should be, I think it would be great if we were to engage externally on World PR Day and showcase PR as a practice that's worthy and deserving of recognition to the external entities. I think that PR for PR, so for the industry, if we were to apply our principles of PR to showcase our profession externally, engage with the people who on the day-to-day are our clients or are the causes that we serve, but we're engaging with them, showcasing what we do, using the tools and the resources that we deploy for them, but this time for the industry, this time for the profession, this time for the practitioners, just so that they can get a totally different perspective of who we are and what we do, because it's for us, by us, using our own tools to the best of our ability. Secondly, like Joyce said, I think that PR practitioners have the power to craft a new African narrative. I think that we already deploy these tools within our organizations, promoting products, promoting services, supporting causes, and that if we were to run with a central narrative about the greatness of our continent, so it goes beyond PR for products, services, and causes, and then we take something like nation building, like she said, a central theme, and on World PR Day, we channel all our energies to a cause that can literally elevate the perception of Africa or our nation states or our locales in the eyes of everyone else. I strongly believe that we could make a huge difference. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Those were very important points that we need to showcase our profession externally, and we also have the power to craft new perception about the public relations space. We also need to put all our energy to make sure that people get to see the work that we do. Thank you so much. I have another question. Please, maybe can you speak now? Okay. I don't know why she can't still speak, but okay. So I just want to say thank you so much for this. I don't know if maybe it's having a network issue or something, but I'll be moving on.
Hi,
Oh,
can you hear me?
yes, I can. I can.
Yeah, apologies. I'm still on the road, but I'm going to take your question from 4 points, and for me is engagement, policy, connection. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Loud and clear.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So I said that I'm going to take your question from 4 perspective points, which is journey, contribution, policies, and engagement. I think celebrating World PR Day is something that should be welcomed globally, because as a profession, if we look at the impact that public relations that we've done in terms of the kind of work that practitioners engage with on a daily basis, it is something that is worth celebrating. So it is important that, yes, as storytellers, we should craft stories around talking about the impact of what we do as a practitioner and as an industry, where we begin to enlighten people more. I think the day should go beyond just having basic conversations. Let's have conversations that talks about the richness of the profession, the industry, and what we bring on board. And another thing again would then be to be able to connect in such a way that we drive impact across the industry, across the clients that we serve, across the people that we work with also we need to begin to talk about policies that will strengthen the communication space, the practitioner. The first time I heard about women in PR, I was excited because I think for a long while we never used to have anything that truly recognize the impact of the profession and what women bring on board and what we've done. So the very first day I heard about that, I was really excited, and then I welcome the idea. So I think for me would be to ensure that we drive in celebrating the World PR Day, we drive it from a connection perspective, come up with policies that will strengthen the profession and the practitioner itself, drive engagement, and then build connection. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's these are very important points. We need to drive engagement, drive our impact, drive policy that will strengthen the communications industry. Thank you for sharing, Vivian. I have another question, and I will be asking Lesu Jolu. So I saw that you studied law. So I just want to know, how did you realize that public relation was the career you wanted to pursue from law to public relations? So when did you know that yes, PR is for me?
Okay, so I find that question quite interesting because some people say they knew from day one that PR was the career for them. In my case, I evolved over time into PR. So while I was on campus, I had exposure through ISEC. It's an undergraduate organization that enables us experience real world business the real world business environment while still in school. And so while I was at ISEC, I did quite a lot of PR work. What I now know to be PR, I didn't realize at the time that that's what it was. But I did find that it was a strength and that I enjoyed it. I went into law, I went to law school, graduated, got my certifications, but decided I did not want to practice. So my first role was within a human capacity development company, but because my strength was communications, that was my entry point. And then I began to do what I now realize was PR work. So the thing is, in my case, it was reverse engineering that led me to recognize, oh, okay, this thing that I've been doing with the guidance of seniors and with the guidance of mentors is actually PR. And then that led me into pursuing it as a field of knowledge and to learning and to getting training and into focusing on it as a career. But to say that I knew, no, I evolved into it, and then I was like, this thing, what exactly is it? And then in studying, I discovered that it was strategic comms / public relations, and then I pursued knowledge in that area. So that's how I came into PR. It took me a period of maybe 3 years to properly understand what it was, and then focus on it. Yes.
Thank you for sharing. So you just you did law, but you didn't practice. You just loved public relations, and you already had great communication skills. Thank you so much for sharing, and we see the great work that you do. So Joyce, I also want to know, because I saw that you did public administration. So how did you get into public relations, and you knew that yes, this was it for me?
Okay, so coming up, I had always wanted to be a journalist because I thought it was a very good fit. I like to have conversations, I like to read, and I like to tell stories. So beyond me, that's what I could see, that then I could read the news and be a journalist. But then I got to the Ghana Institute of Journalism, which is the foremost university or the foremost school for journalists. And I think that it should be in my first week or in my first month that I was speaking to someone, and then he says, I think you should look at PR. Your personality actually fits PR. So I then checked what PR would be, and I thought, yeah, that should fit my personality. And then I inquired a bit and also realized that the PR profession actually pays better than being a journalist. And I know this sounded so selfish, but coming up from a very humble background, I knew that I needed to make some money quick. So there were two things. It was my personality, and then the understanding that I could make much more money being a journalist, so being a public relations person. So what did I do? In fact, I think that this it was a lecturer. He advised that I could go ahead and study journalism because it will help me to understand how the journalists work, so that when I become a PR person, I would have that advantage to be able to craft my story, engage them, and actually have friends who were journalists who could help pitch my stories and could help promote what I do. And that lecture hasn't been wrong because it's been one of the advantages. Obviously, in school, I really didn't understand the scope or the worth of what the PR and communications profession really entails, but it would take me time to evolve from one thing to the other to realize that, oh, it's a wonderful uh, profession. I would say that is the lecturer that had spoken to me about this had been right, because I realized that whoever I am or whatever I have been able to achieve is one because my personality and what the PR profession looks at, or what you would need to gain to be the best PR that you could be, are natural gifts to me. So it was really a natural fit to fit into the PR profession, and I haven't regretted it. In fact, I love it. If I come back on earth again, I would choose this career path.
Thank you. Yeah, well, what got me when you said more money. So money is very important. So it can also be a driver. Thank you so much for sharing. So I have another
It
question.
is.
I have a question just to encourage people that are just starting out in PR, especially as a woman. So I just want to know, Mabel, if you can take this, I just want to know how has your career been for a woman in PR when you started, and what is your experience right now? Like, you started in a particular stage, you've grown over the years. We just want to know how you started and what is your experience right now.
Thank you very much. So I've been in this profession for over 15 years, and it's the profession that I've done all through my 15 years of career. I've not moved from one industry to another. But however, what has sustained me in this journey is the ability to be able to harness all of the skills that you need to thrive as a public relations practitioner. So when I started my career, I knew I didn't want to do journalism. I wasn't going to be a journalist. I knew that I wanted to do strategy, and I didn't want somebody to um, come give me something to just read to the press. I wanted to be at the background to understand the fundamental reasons of doing a lot of things. Okay, what do we come up with here? So all of the things that has to do with strategy, planning, researching, coming up with that ideas before you move into implementation stage. I wanted to do that. And what out of the, I think, the four basic areas that we have in mass communication, where we have the broadcast, we have the print, we have advertising, and we have PR. So public relations gave me that leverage or that platform to be able to do that. And immediately after school, what did I do? I ensured that even while I was still doing some media activities, it was it was beyond just writing. It was coming up with strategies on how do you tell your story better? What are the platforms you can use to drive what? So that strategy for me has really, really helped. And whenever I move in terms of my career, move from one organization to the other, what I typically would tell people is the tools are readily available for you. The media channels are readily available for you. But how do you ensure that you maximize those platforms? You maximize the basic or the tools, the PR tools that are available for you to be able to drive your communication objectives. And as you journey, as I journey into my career from one industry to the other, the demands are different. The demands are clear. But if you are strong in strategy, it will help you to be able to maximize the platforms that are available to you, the PR tools that are available to you to be able to drive your overall objectives and goal, which is really key. In public relations, measuring success is very key, which is one of the things that we also struggle with. But as a practitioner, understanding your strategy, dipping yourself into that and that foundation before you come up with your holistic plan, down to the tools that you use, would help in your career, your journey. And that has really helped me in my 15 years of career, even down to some of the brands that I've worked with, some of the industry that I've worked with, and the clients that I've worked with over time. But that strategy keeps driving you, and then ensure that you deliver on the expected results that is required of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing, maximizing platforms, and you also mentioned the ability to harness all the skills you need in your different role. Now, moving on, let's discuss. Let's say Jolu, please. I want you to sort of tell us some skills, especially for women, that they need to develop to remain relevant in the changing PR world. Leslie Jolly, did you get that?
Yes, I did. Can you hear me? Sorry. Okay,
Yes,
so
I can.
this sounds like two questions in one. Are you asking for workplace skills or skills for a woman in PR? So I'll speak to both. Um,
Yes, thank you.
for a woman in PR, so for a woman in any profession at all, I'd like to say that you can have it all, but not at the same time. So it's possible for a woman to get everything that she wants: family, career, relevance, legacy, but it will not all come at the same time. One is going to have to prioritize per time and move things around per time. So you're going to have to tell yourself the honest truth about what you will prioritize per time and what you'll pour yourself into the most. And then you engage with the people you love so that they buy into that and support you. Number two, you require a support system that understands your journey and will lift you when you're low, standing for you when you're unable to move everything by yourself. Number three, you need a tribe of go-getters, a tribe of women who have a vision, who understand where they're going, who are positive, who are uplifting, but who will tell you the truth and will let you know when you need to slow down. Four, in my opinion, if you're in a relationship or a marriage, you need a partner who's kind, not just a person that you're married to. You need a partner who's kind, and you need honesty and openness in that relationship. Now that's for a woman in any profession at all, not just PR. Essential skills for PR excellence, in my opinion. Very first one, strategic thinking. I don't think anyone can succeed in PR long term if they don't take the long view. There are very many tactics that one can use, but the difference between strategic thinking and tactical thinking is that one outlives everything else and the other one just crashes and burns after a while. So you need to understand, like Mabel said, the business objectives, and then develop tailored strategies around objectives so that even when realities change in the moment, because the objectives remain the same, you're able to pivot in line with the objectives and the strategy and change your tactics, possibly. Number two, creativity. I don't think that anyone will stay successful in PR long term if they don't have a creative bent. It's very easy for creativity to be stifled because in PR, you keep coming up with new ideas and not all of those ideas will be taken. So if you're not a person who's very great with receiving feedback that says, no, we don't quite like that, it might stifle your creativity, but you need to hold on to that creativity and you need to keep deploying it. My belief is that creativity begets creativity. The more creative you are, the more creative you become. The more of your creative juices that you allow to flow, the more you get out of yourself. Number three, emotional intelligence. I think that people who succeed at PR are not just people with large personalities, but people who are emotionally intelligent, people who are able to read the room, people who are able to tell when to say what and how, people who understand human nature and are able to navigate that with wisdom and with, in my opinion, and this is one of my greatest strengths, flexibility and adaptability. The capacity to recognize that things are changing and then to identify what you need to change, whether it is about yourself or it is about the strategy that you're working with or it is about the methodologies that you're using. The capacity to recognize what needs to change and to change quickly, to evolve quickly without compromising what's important, without compromising the objective, but understanding that certain things may need to shift around if you're going to achieve your goal. Finally, I think that people with integrity are the people who stand the test of time. If people know what you stand for and what you will not do or what you will do, if people can tell right off the bat that these are your values, these are your ethics, and you're a person of integrity, it will save you a lot of trouble. Some people will not bring certain things to you because they already know what you stand for or what you represent. But some people will constantly come to you because of your integrity. So these are my top 5 personally, and I like to share these because I think that they will help any PR practitioner succeed long term. Thank you.
That was very insightful. So just to note them down, it's very important. If you didn't take it down, I will help you rephrase it. Strategic thinking is important. Creativity is important. Emotional intelligence. You must be flexible and adaptable. And integrity is important because even when you're not in the room, integrity is what will make the difference for you. Moving on to the next question, I'll be asking Joyce. Can you share a funny experience you've had as a woman in the communications industry? Something that you saw and you were just like laughing because, and you thought to yourself, it's because I'm a woman that this happened. If you like to share. And before you respond to that, I will want to just bring my own, my own personal experience whereby, you work in the PR space and maybe there's no admin staff and they look at you, say, she can do it. You will join the kitchen cabinet, you'll be helping us serve tea when we have guests, and you look to yourself, but this was not part of my JD, but
Yeah.
and you're just, oh, okay. So I want to hear your own experience. Thank you.
Right. I was just wondering whether you asked me that question based on the fact that I have a very jovial personality. All right, but good one. So I will share 2. So one was that I realized, so I joined the management team quite young, and I think that will be like my first biggest role as public affairs and sustainability head, then for Voltic. And then most of my colleagues were older. I was quite young. And I realized that when we go for management meetings, they're expecting me to take minutes. Believe you me, I love to write and I journal a lot, but minute taking is not something I enjoy. I just think that, especially when the minute has to do with you taking everything and not just the salient points or the summary of what had been discussed. I found that funny. And guess what? Well, I'm very stubborn. So I said, no, I am not the minute taker. If we needed to take a minute, it's either we bring the MD's secretary to do it or we will rotate. And, that what happens is that once you're able to use your voice and you can stand up for yourself, others will respect you for that. Obviously, it took everybody by surprise because I am sure before me, any lady that was on that team would be asked to take minutes, but I said no. And, so the first day, I did not take the minutes. And so the next day, the next week, they were expecting same. And I said, no, I'm not taking the minutes again. We have to go around. And if I'm to take it today, the next week I won't take it. So somebody else took the minutes and then we went round, subsequently. The next thing will be that, so we had an issue, right? At work, and it was a technical issue because well, for me, I had worked all my career in factories. So they are either a manufacturing company for food or for textiles. And, one of our product had an issue. It's a technical issue. It had to do with something that, well, according to the engineers, can be easily fixed. But I thought it should be we can fix it, or we should be able to fix it for the consumer. And I was told to do a campaign to teach people how to use the product. And I said, no, this product had been existing before I was giving birth to, or maybe when I was in school. This is not the time for me to teach people how to use this product. We must fix the issue. First, I thought that, okay, because I was a lady, because we had a whole lot of public issue. People were coming up to tell us that our product was doing this or that to them. And then I thought that, okay, if it were one of the engineers talking to them about it, it would have been done. But coming from a public relations person, they believe that the best we could do was to have a campaign. So I insisted that no, we're not going to do this. We will fix the problem. And I remember someone telling me, a mentor telling me that if they do not fix the problem and you have any publicity crisis, allow it to roll, and so people will be able to learn from it. This sounds funny today. I would say that it sounds funny today, but then it wasn't funny, and I insisted, and yeah, the problem was fixed. Of course, it took us some time and some investment for it to be fixed, but I stood my ground. So these will be the two things that I would think that if you want me to discuss what was funny, that will be it. Yeah.
That was very, very funny. The PR professionals are not note takers. Well noted. And speaking out is very, very important. Thank you so much, Joyce, for sharing that personal experience with us. So maybe I have a question for you, and for people that are listening and thinking if they should go into the PR space. And for Nigerian women in PR, we have the PR Student Summit, where the goal is to introduce public relations early to students so they have a strong understanding before they even get into the workforce. I just want to get your own insight on the advantages of people starting out early in the PR space. So do they have an edge? What are some of the benefits they stand to gain by starting early? Maybe can you hear me? I don't know if she can hear me, but let's see, please, can you take that for us? Some benefit you think that young people can get by starting early in the PR profession?
Okay, I think that if you start out early, you're not jaded. It's easier in my experience, it's easier when you're younger to get over obstacles or mistakes because it's easier for younger people to roll with the punches. The older you get and the more responsibilities you have, you second guess quite a lot of things in terms of their implications long term for family, for the resources at hand, etc. But if you get into a PR career and you're able to explore your options and your possibilities early, then you can make decisions about what you genuinely like, not on the basis of the responsibilities that you bear or the realities that you're faced with. In addition, I think that the way the world is evolving, young people have access to a wide range of tools that they can explore, and it does seem that younger people are faster able to catch up with these things than people who are older. So as the world evolves and as the world changes, you have a bit of an edge because these things are native to you. Things are being developed in your time and in your era, and you're not already stuck on what used to be and having to unlearn that to learn what is now. So in my opinion, that would be my advice to a young person. Start out early so that you can make mistakes early because you will make a few mistakes, and get past them early. Take the risks that you need to take before you have the many considerations that being older brings, and then you can make the most advantage of the tools that are being developed in real time as you're growing, and you can become maestros at using these tools instead of having to unlearn like the older generation.
This was very insightful and enlightening. So for people that are thinking of going into the public relations space, it is important to get in early. So it's very easy for you to grasp new concepts, new technologies, and learn so much faster than the older generation. So this is a mandate for you to start PR very early to get the most and have an edge over your colleagues. So I'll be moving on. I don't know if Mabel has joined. I think she's having network issue. But Joyce, I just wanted to know some strategies you've implemented in your campaigns. And these strategies has been timeless. Every time you see that this works, every time you see this works. So this is for people that are listening in, so they can also get this just down on their notepad that, yeah, I learned this today, that this strategy works no matter what. So I just want
Okay,
to
good.
get some timeless strategies you've implemented in your campaigns.
Okay, all right. And before I do that, I want to add to what Leslie said. I also would like to say that it's good to specialize early. So, the founder of Women in PR is Faith. Faith is into fashion PR, and like now, if you want to speak to anyone in that area, you want to speak to her because she has over the years specialized in that area. Then one of my colleagues on the executive who is into fintech, I mean, she's so great with what she's been doing with the fintech industry because she's been there for over 10 years. So I believe that for all our new joiners or our early career PR early career joiners, please look at specializing very early in time so that as you grow in your career, you are known for or you become top of mind for such areas. And I believe that's where the future is going. We are no more going to be looking at generalists. We'll be looking at people who have specialized skills. Now back to the question. I'll talk about three. So one is timeless. Timeless for me is stakeholder engagement. And I know this can be very painful because you would have to understand that the other person or the people you're trying to change or bring the commodity to or product or even the initiative internally, that is your employees, they also have certain goals that they want to achieve. Now you need to meet them, or both of you will have to compromise, and that process of compromising, which comes with engaging them to understand how they think, what triggers them, what they would like to see, and what their goals are, is very important but tedious. But over time, I've realized that if you do not have your stakeholder mapped carefully and you do not have your stakeholders engaged carefully and you bypass it, it will come back to hit you. Your campaign will not be successful. You will waste a lot of time. You will be so tired. You would have a lot of pain. And at the end of the day, you are seen as incompetent or not be able to drive value. And the business is looking at value. So I believe that, or one of my strategies that have worked over time, is stakeholder engagement. And it could be in any area. It could be the media. If you want to have a product that is different and innovation, carry the media along right from the beginning. Pitch to media houses that have programs similar to the project or the product that you're trying to bring onto the market. It helps. The next one that I have used will be employee branding, and I will call that influencer partnership. Today we may call it ambassadors, but over the years it's really helped me. Now, also having said this, because I've worked in factories where we had large number of employees, what happens is that if you have about 2,500 employees, that's a majority of consumers that you can influence. Again, if you leave them out and you do whatever you're doing, you would be so tired because it is you, let's say the PR department against the world, and you won't have these people to carry your message along, right? Then the next one is understanding the objective. Like, always have a goal for the PR campaign that you have. And we have spoken a lot about us adding value to our organizations, and it starts by understanding exactly what the organization wants. You cannot just say this is a beautiful, okay, this is beautiful, it's going to be a beautiful campaign, everybody will love me for it. So what? How does it align to the business strategy? I will never do any PR campaign without aligning it to the overall strategy of the organization. And it had really served me well. In fact, at the end of the day, and what I do is that I actually add a sales component. I know this may be hard. Yes, marketing and PR are not the same, and sales are not the same, but you have to ask yourself, at the end of the day, what is the underlying factor for which we are PR practitioners? It is to build the reputation of the organization, and so it ends in sales or patronage of our products. So it will be good to align whatever you do with the overall goal of the organization, so that it is easy for you to pitch to your CEO or to pitch to your MD. And if you can, please ensure that you're adding sales. I have done this and I can show. In fact, usually for my KPIs, I'll add sales to it and I'll ensure that I hit it and I show you. That way, the next time I come back to you to give me budget, you're willing to give me, because it shows clearly. So just to summarize, aligning your strategy with the organizational strategy, adding a component of sales if you can, employee engagement, and also stakeholder engagement. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let's see, will you want to add some more strategies for us? And before she unmutes to speak, please, if you want to contribute, please request to speak and I will give you access. So let's say, please, let's have some timeless strategy you've used over the years.
Okay, interestingly, one of the things that she mentioned, that's been my biggest strategy: stakeholder engagement, understanding the audience, understanding the different categories of stakeholders and what is in it for them. So that really would be what I would prioritize. I think that it drives messaging in ways that a lot of people do not understand. There are internal stakeholders, there are external stakeholders, there are stakeholders that you work with on a day-to-day basis that enable your work. There are stakeholders that you're not aware of that can be a stumbling block in the way of your work on the external. And sometimes we map stakeholders because they're the visible ones. But there are certain invisible stakeholders that sometimes can mar the work that we're doing. So my biggest strength so far has been the ability to identify who's important and why, and then to find out how they are important to the work that we need to do and the objectives we need to achieve, and then to identify how I can serve their objectives in the larger objective, so that they feel a sense of involvement, a sense of ownership of where we're going and what we're doing. Then being able to communicate that to them in real time. A second thing that I found that is a strength is keeping people updated. So when you recognize that these stakeholders are important to where you're going, then you keep them in the loop, whether or not they deserve to be in the loop on paper. But you keep them in the loop in ways that make them feel like they matter and that they're engaged. What happens is that sometimes they're privy to information that you are not. They hear things that you do not. And then they bring it back to you because they think we are all in this together. So in my opinion, stakeholder mapping and engagement is perhaps one of the pillars of being successful at PR. Distilling it into the other areas. But that I would say has been a core of the work that I've done over the years.
That was very insightful. Stakeholder engagement, mapping, knowing the right audience, create a sense of ownership and ensure that there is feedback, there's effective communication, your stakeholder knows where the project is at, there's continuous feedback. We all know that in the public relations industry, if you're working on a project, feedback is very important. That was very insightful. So I have a question for Joyce, but before we go on, I need people to request to speak because Joyce said that adding sales is one of our timeless strategy. So and I want to know in Nigeria, when a client tells you that I want to make sales from this public relations strategy or from the comms plan, is this something we say yes to? So I want everyone listening to request to speak. I want to get your own insight on that. So before people come up to speak, Joyce, I just want you to talk about some major reasons why the PR industry need women in PR bodies. We have women in PR Ghana, we have Nigerian women in public relations. I just want you to tell us some importance of having these associations in the PR and communication space.
Okay, all right. And just now, before we go on, one of my strategies that I think is key, I have used over the years, is also industry partnerships. Do not forget that. It works like magic. All right. Then, why is it important for us to have such communities? You know what? I believe that if we are 50% of the population, obviously we will need something that is tailored towards our needs, right? And also, if you look at the profession and the fact that we have a lot of vacancies in C-suite or the upper levels of management, right, in public relations, then there's a need to have more of such communities. Why? Because they become like a voice. They are the voice the voice of the voiceless. That is one. They create mentorship platforms. If we look at the impact that women in PR had over the past 8 years, you would see that such organizations help to put the female that are doing marvelously well in PR on the map, which then gives guidance to those who are coming after them that, you know what, you can do this profession, and you cannot just do it, you can do it and do it well. The next one is that we know that the statistics shows that women are very they're not forthright when it comes to networking. Not because we don't want to network, but also because we have a lot of responsibilities that the woman would have to do. Even if you outsource it, you have to take care of some, like having a child, having a family, being there for your family, which we have naturally been endowed with. Now, such organizations and communities provide this platform for women to be able to network. Now, the men would meet on the golf courses, and I'm not saying women don't play golf, but then we know that most of them that play golf are men. The statistics shows most of our men would go to the sports bar to watch football, and they bond there. Most of these men will go on trips and then they will bond there. Most of these men will sit after work without any family burden. And then that is where they will bond and network, because our profession, you can't actually do this profession without knowing anyone. So such platforms provide a conducive environment where it is a woman to woman that are engaging. They are sharing the issues that they have. They are seeking for solutions. They are building relationships so that it helps on their jobs. Then the next thing is that it provides a place or an avenue for soundboarding. And by soundboarding, I mean that sometimes you're going through a challenge at work, right? And you don't know where to turn to. You're not too sure if you speak to your colleague, they're going to judge you by it as being incompetent, or if you speak to your boss about it, it's going to affect your appraisal. But when you are on such platforms, you realize that we have very similar challenges, and there is no shame in actually sharing it because it is a common challenge that we face. So aside the beauty of it, and I know that usually people just see the fact that at these events we take very beautiful pictures and we post them. Aside these beautiful pictures that are posted, there's a network opportunity that women do not get. There's a soundboarding opportunity that we have, avenues that we have. There's a mentoring that is also happening. And also there is the opportunity to highlight the good work that these females or these women are bringing on board for the growth of the PR profession. Thank you.
That was very insightful, and we're very happy to have you share so much insight with us today. And we just want to reiterate that we believe so much in the power of community, and that is why we exist. But we also actively seek partnership with such community that we deliver value to our members. So community is important, partnership, networking is very important, and these are the things that we think that every organization needs to be built on. We have maybe on the call, you're welcome. We're so sorry about your network. So I also have another question for you, Joyce. The women in PR Ghana is likely one of the oldest women in PR bodies in Africa. What has been some of your pushback? What are some pushback that you've experienced?
Wow, I am proud to hear that. I think Faith is on the call. So Faith, again, well done for your vision. It's exciting to hear that we are one of the oldest. I think that we should clap ourselves somehow and project that we are one of the oldest. Okay, but aside that, what has been the pushback? I That's a very tough one because there are some of the pushbacks that I don't want to speak about. But I think that it is the competition, the seemingly competition with the mother body itself, and also the ability to differentiate ourselves, and also to know and get members to understand that we are not in competition with the mother body, but this is rather a group that is tailored to women because of the commonality of issues that we have. Then the next thing is getting members to actually be engaged, be involved. So usually you will create communities and you realize that based on the activities that you have, people are really interested to join the community. But once they join, they just keep quiet. And the beauty of community is engagement. I mean, I always tell people, whatever you see outside that drew you into the community, you must know that the growth of the community depends on you to do the same. So people join the community and then they become cold. Then the next thing is when it has to do with becoming a paid membership. So Women in PR started and it was just a community anyone could join. But then as we grew, as we developed, as we went to the next level, we knew that we needed to have a membership or a paid membership community. Also because it will interest you to know that the Women in PR summits that we have held over the past 8 years is totally free. And if you look at the diversity and the richness and quality of the summits that we usually organize, then it tells you that there is a need for some form of payment to be done. And in fact, the payments that are done in terms of dues are woefully inadequate, right? However, you find it hard for people to contribute towards the growth monetarily, towards the growth of the community, and those have been the pushbacks. Then also there's a perception. Usually you would need for anything, and I'm not saying this is peculiar to Women in PR alone, but for any initiative that is new or for any innovative idea, people will want you to go ahead, implement it. And when they feel like now you're adding value, then they would like to join. However, when they join, they want it to be something they would have been a part of, which means that they will want to change your policies. So instead of us waiting, right? When any new initiative comes, or or maybe the next country that is going to have a woman in PR, instead of you waiting to see the growth of the organization before you come in and add your voice and change things right from the beginning, join so that you can shape what the organization would be. So these then will be some of the pushback or the challenges that we've had: membership payment, engagement of members once they join, and also the seeming competition or similarity between women in PR and then the PR body, the mother body of PR in Ghana. Thank you.
I would say that we are in this together because what you just mentioned is very peculiar to also women in PR in other regions. Mabel, thank you for joining us. Let's do Jolu, please. I have a question for you. So, what is your thought about the power of community as PR professionals? You're currently the executive director of the Concert Venue, so I want to get your insight on the power of community as PR professionals.
Okay, so I like the fact that Joyce had already segued into that. The thing about community is that it lets you recognize that your challenges are not unique to just you. So the comms industry as a whole is a very high pressure industry. A lot of comms professionals find themselves having to deal with a wide spectrum of deliverables, despite the fact that it's one title. So you find that there's a bit of overwhelm after a while, and a lot of people perceive that they're the only ones dealing with this. Community first enables you to see that you can leverage the strengths and the experience of your peers in dealing with the challenges that you face. So like she said, you might be unable to talk to a colleague at work or to a superior at work because it might reflect badly on your competence on the job. But if you have a professional community where there are similarities in the work that you do and you're able to share openly without fear of being judged professionally within your organization as a result, then it affords you the opportunity to take from the experiences of others and build that into what you're dealing with. It lets you know, the minute you realize that you're not the only one dealing with something, it takes the weight off. A lot of the times, the pressure that we feel comes not just from the weight of what we're dealing with, but from the way we perceive it and the way we imagine that we're the only ones dealing with it. Community also enables peer-to-peer learning. So there's a benefit from mentorship, that's top-down learning. But there's the benefit that comes from peer-to-peer learning. There's a benefit that comes from sounding off ideas on people who are at a similar stage to you and who understand the nuances of being where you are at right now. So a mentor might be able to guide you with the benefit of hindsight, but a person who's in a similar situation will have perspectives from being where you are at in the moment. Community also makes it possible for collaboration to take place. So I found that at the Comms Avenue, people have developed organic relationships from being exposed to one another informally. And so their friendships have developed, acquaintances have developed that have morphed into strategic collaborations and partnerships. The intention at the get-go was not, oh, I know that you're the head here and this is my goal. I'm going to talk to you and then I'm going to pitch something and then you're going to support it. It's that in getting to know one another and discovering synergies between what people are doing, they recognize that there's an opportunity here to do something together. There's already a relationship that makes it possible for that conversation to happen. And then there's already some sort of synergy that makes it possible for you to walk through the kinks without the formal structure of emails and all of that. Of course, you are required to formalize all of that. But the conversations, like Joyce was saying, that men have on the golf course, that they have at the sports bar, the Comms Avenue members and people who are in communities like she has described are able to replicate those, where there's an organic relationship that now leads to business conversations that then lead to opportunities to collaborate on business. Community also makes, I like the fact that in this day and age, there are no barriers. Location is not a barrier. With all of the platforms and connections that people can make digitally, people are able to synergize across different locations. So what happens now is that there are multi-party and multinational collaborations taking place. World PR Day, for instance, what's happening today could not have happened maybe 30 years ago because we simply did not have the tools and the infrastructure to make it possible. Now we're on a space, and there are people from different countries on this space right now, and we're speaking in real time to one another with no barriers. That's another strong advantage of community. Finally, I would say that when people build community early, they grow together. And what happens is that in the next few years, the movers and the shapers of the industry will have a commonality that dates back several years. So, as opposed to previous generations where people rose more or less in silos and everyone was their own person, having fought their own battle alone and having risen alone, and then having to now forge relationships at C-suite level. People are meeting themselves as CEOs and trying to synergize and connect as CEOs. What's happening in our generation and with community is that people are growing together. And so what will happen is that in the future, there will be very many top people who have a strong bond with one another. And that is so powerful because what they're able to do will be exponentially more because they're doing it together at that level. These are my thoughts. Thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic. Great insight. So this is your prompt to belong to a community. If you need peer-to-peer learning, if you need support, build relationship across borders, if you need mentorship, it is a prompt to join communities. And we have communities to join, like the Coms Avenue, Women in PR Ghana, and yours truly, Nigeria Women in Public Relations. So these are communities that will support your growth, hold your hands, provide all the support you need along your career goals. So for Nigeria Women in PR, we have some great initiative and programs. Our annual Experiencing PR annual conference. We have reverse mentorship workshop. We have the C-suite acceleration workshop. We have annual job fairs. So if you're looking for a job with agencies or companies, Nigeria Women in Public Relations is here for you. We also have our monthly PR student summit. It's a complimentary training to create awareness for students at a young age so they get to know about public relations. They can even get jobs while in school, and before they graduate they have experience. And this is what community does. It takes you from one level to another, gives you all the support you need. We also have the student ambassadorship program for people, communities, mentoring. So in every school, we want ambassadors that represent the great work that we do. We also have the PR Woman of the Month, a monthly initiative where we spotlight women doing great work. And we have so many amazing programs. So if you've not joined the Nigerian Women in PRO, please join us and experience more benefits and beyond. We also have our premium membership for professionals that have 5 years experience and above. So they get to enjoy facilitation for trainings. So they facilitate trainings. They have opportunity to contribute to our biannual publications. They have opportunity to speaking engagements. They have exclusive access to our newsletters and resources. There's discounts on premium workshops like the reverse mentorship and the C-suite acceleration. They also have benefit of having premium and easy access to international membership like the PRCA. So you have a discount on membership. And if you need to join any certification body, we will guide you along the way and make sure that it is seamless. The Nigerian Women in PR is here for you to support your growth as we provide resources for your growth. Thank you very much. Maybe I have a question for you. I asked people to request to speak, but no one has requested to speak. So maybe I'll be asking you a question. So with your number of years in the PR space, what would you say would be an advice you give to a younger version of yourself?
I'm finally back. Apologies, I had to run out because I needed to attend to a work request.
All right, thank you.
My advice for a young professional, I'll try and summarize it in, I think about 3 to 4 points, which is you must be prepared. Public relations is a profession that you have to constantly prepare yourself because you deal with um, individuals whose behavior would change and constantly changes as they interact with different events, different activities. So you have to constantly learn. You have to constantly ensure that you build up your skills in all areas in that field. It's not a profession where you it's not static. As innovations are coming in, as consumer behaviors are changing, you have to adapt to that change and constantly think ahead. What are the things that I want to offer in terms of communication next week? If I'm speaking to, and I will try to be practical with it. So you're running a campaign and you have to ensure that you think ahead. If I get interaction here, what would be my response? If I don't get interaction here, how do I divert to ensure that I still meet my the bottom line or my overall objective? So as a young practitioner, you have to be prepared. Get your hands on ideas, activities that would give you an opportunity to constantly learn and improve on yourself. The other thing would be when you're starting your career or as a young professional, try not to be picky. When I say picky is I advise people to get their hands dirty, and I'm going to use myself as an example. In my career journey, what I've done over time is I I try as much as possible to get my hands on the job. And yes, even as I grow in leadership, in role, I tell people that there's practically nothing that I can do in PR because I took my time to learn the basic things from PR is so broad and so wide that it's not a one skill profession, from writing to storytelling to managing events, conferences, strategic thinking, crisis communication, production. There are a lot of things. So you need to get your hands dirty. You need to try as much as possible not to be picky because this career at some point will require you to write. When you're confronted with that responsibility, what do you do? I had a conversation with someone who we were talking about, okay, come up with some content or some, and the person said that, oh, I don't do writing. And my first reaction was, how long have you been practicing? You're practicing public relations and you don't have flair for writing. How do you survive? So let's even say that you then have people that you manage. How do you help them improve on themselves? How do you review what they've done? So this journey, this career, this public relation career is something that you have to get your hands on a lot of what brings out the result. So it's not just the result alone. I am running a campaign. What are the things that I need to do to run the campaign to make it a success? Get your hands on those things, and not just the implementation part. Then another thing again is the third one for me would be take your time to learn. Take your time to learn. I tell people that. I think the advantage that I have, and I also tell people, is try as much as possible to, if you can, try as much as possible to learn from areas, I mean, the agency perspective, because what that does for you is you get your hands into a lot of things and you get to learn. I think most times when practitioners start our career on the client side, a lot of things you don't get to do because you can easily outsource. You're outsourcing to people who are developing themselves into whatever it is to bring your briefs to life. So you outsource your request on writing, you outsource your request on PR plan, you outsource your request to crisis management, you outsource a lot of things. So if you find yourself in that agency where you are the ones they're outsourcing to, you will learn. So if you're starting your career, you can even volunteer. You can volunteer with agencies. You can volunteer on on campaigns. An individual is running a campaign. Volunteer, sit together, come up with strategy, help them. Work with them. You would learn all of those. You will learn the basic things that you need to survive in this field. So overall, for me, it's 3. Get your hands dirty. Don't be picky. Take your time to learn. Take your time to learn. As you grow in this career, you get to a level where it is whatever it is that you've learned. I said something earlier that the tools are available for you. What keeps you going on the job is how good you are with strategy, how good you are with understanding what is required at what point, even when the tools are available for you. How do you utilize the tools to be able to drive results? And I think lastly for me would be also stakeholder management. Public relations, you will get to deal with a lot of people, from your internal stakeholders, your external stakeholders, to the media, to customers, to consumers, whatever industry that you have. But you have to ensure that you are able to place the stakeholders in the bucket that they fit in, and you understand the strategy to be able to manage them, because your overall result is dependent on how much you're able to manage your stakeholders who have different needs, who have different things that they are measuring in the work that you put in out there for them. Thank you.
Fantastic insights. Be prepared, get your hands dirty, take your time to learn. Do not be in a rush and be ready to serve, because remember, for you to be a leader, you must first serve. That was very, very, very fantastic tips. Thank you so much. We have some speakers that have requested to speak. We have Elder and we have Tofumi. Elder, you can go on.
Okay, thank you. Someone sent me the link of that space here, and I'm delighted to be here. I'm originally from Brazil, and I'm based here in UK. And one of the things I will say is what Mabel just finished to spoke about is you need to be hands-on, and she's all right there. You need to be hands-on and everything. And what I learned the most was when years ago, I was voluntary, and was where I was able to learn the most. So you maybe think, well, I'm not going to get paid, I'm starting, but you may not get paid monetarily straight away, but the informations and the amounts of learning you get when you apply to that on a day-to-day basis, when you are work later, you'll see that was an investment on your career. So I think that is the main thing. I am here actually, first to congratulate you guys for organizing that and have this platform here, but also have the organization. I believe the organization is in Nigeria, if I'm not wrong. So I'm just congratulating you girls for doing that. I think we are growing a lot on the sector as a woman. There is a lot, it's more tailored forwards as to work as a PR, but in today's society, there is no such thing anymore. That's the men field or the woman field. More or less, we can mingle and do everything. And PR is one of those things. If we invest in learning, we are able to go even in the fields where it's more predominantly male. But I would like to ask a question, because I work in PR as well, but my field is in the political field. mainly in Brazil with political campaigns and here in UK. So I would like to know if there is anyone here on that field in the African continent who works as a PR in the political field, because I would love to exchange information. We could extend information about the political here and then in Brazil, but also I want to learn as I am engaged in the possibility to work with two candidates, a governor in Nigeria, and I would like to get more about the informations on the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Elder. Thank you so much for joining. We are glad to have you and for your insight in first in learning. We are taking that close to our heart. Every PR professional that wants to grow and get to the leadership position knows that learning and unlearning is key. Thank you for sharing and for joining in with us. So for me, you have the mic. You can go on. Is so for Miss D here? Okay, so I just want to ask Mabel. Mabel, you know you are for some time, and congratulations on being part of the PL Power List for 2024. Congratulations. Let's give Mabel a round of applause. Thank you. Maybe I have another question for you. I just want to know how corporate organizations can support the ambitious goal of PR communities and women in PR bodies.
Thank you for that. So I think largely is we're getting there. We're getting that visibility that we need. I mean, as women in PR, what organization can do would be also to support and create conversation sincerely. Where there is no conversations, ideas can come up. Where there is no conversations, you can have collaboration. And where there is no conversation, you find people working in silos. So for me, it would be for organizations to come up with conversations, even within the industry, to drive the importance of supporting or creating platforms that would give the voice that women in PR actually deserve. One other major thing for organization is organization needs to understand the importance. And I will use my journey as an example again. So when I meet people and because a lot of people don't understand what we truly do as a PR practitioner. And that is because majority of the tools that we use as PR practitioners, people have access to it. Not even now in the digital age, people would have access to your social media, they have access to the blogs that you want to use, they have access to the TV, they can call TV to come and cover the event, they can go in for interview, they can do a lot of things, right? However, they can't do it the way you do it because there is no strategy behind it. What drives you and what makes us different is there is a strategy that is that shows you the workings, that shows you, I mean, you understand what is not working, what is working, how do you impute this communication here, where should it go? So that conversation needs to happen, and then organization needs to understand what we truly bring on board. So you call marketing comms, PR practitioners as the spender, right? What are you bringing on board? But you know what? If I don't create that soft landing for you, if I don't educate people on the products that you offer, if I don't open channels for you to be able to engage, if I don't position the brand, if I don't position the product where people understand the importance it has to them, they won't consume your product. They won't use your product. So we need organization to understand that. We need organization to understand what we bring on board. And lastly, again, it would be for me as an individual, you also need to truly understand your position in the organization. As public relations practitioner, you should understand what you truly do and how you support the business to grow. When finance are reading their numbers, when product owners are reading the products that they've come up with, you must be able to defend and showcase what you're doing and showcase how the work that you're doing is helping to drive the overall goal of that product. Nobody wants to launch a product and then there is no acceptability. Nobody wants to launch a product and people are not aware of. So for people calling you from one place to the other, for people telling you, I've seen this, I've heard this, or for people even coming back to ask you for questions about your product, is because they've seen my work. It's because I have done something right. If I don't do all of those things right, you won't have interaction. So as an individual and also as a practitioner, we need to understand what we bring on board and we need to be able to find our contribution in the bottom line. We need to find our contribution in the areas that we contribute in the business, because so largely it's not just from the company perspective alone. If you truly also understand what you do, if you understand how your profession, how your role is valuable in the organization, sincerely you will get the support. Stand up and show your work. And I think we're getting into that space where organizations also are seeing it. But then you understand your work, you would get the support. And organization also, not to say that we also don't have work to do. Organizations also need to begin to have that conversation and truly see what we bring on board. Thank you.
Great insights. We are so happy to have you share that with us. Know your value. Organizations also need to know the what that you're bringing in for them. So if you say you're delivering XYZ, the organization also needs to see it. I don't know if Lesu, Jolu, or Joyce have additions to that. Just share your own perspective on the question.
Yeah, so I also believe that there is a need for us to build resilience. And today, a colleague of mine, we're having a discussion on that when you look at crisis in itself, right? And I would say that in my journey, the moment I've shown the most had been times that I had managed the crisis very well. And after that, you build resilience such that even for your brain, it creates a pattern such that the next time you meet another crisis, your brain understands that, oh, I have seen this before. Maybe it could be a different crisis. However, I've seen the pattern and then I know what I can do. It will be good that we do not run away from crisis. I have said that, and I've jokingly said this, but having gone back to look at my career, I actually walk into companies when they have issues. That's when I walk in. Like when everything is going rowdy, then yes, here I come. And I will calm the storms. And after that, then I'm looking for, okay, where else is there fire for me to go and quench? What happens is that over the years, you will build such resilience that you begin to be seen as a person of value. Because remember, it's actually difficult to keep things in an equilibrium than when they are shaking. When they are shaking, you can bring it down and then everybody knows that, you have done this, so they can attribute that success to you. Then moving into things where, it's so quiet, there's nothing happening, and then you do not get to build yourself. Then in times where there are crises, you feel like the whole world is coming to an end. Sometimes intentionally even instigate some of the crisis and see how you can build your resilience to it. Because as the world is changing, and we continue to say that change is a constant, the reason why change becomes an issue, even in the age of AI tools that a lot of people are sweating, is because you haven't built that resilience to understand that there's nothing that is going to be constant. Things will continue to change. But you as a human being must build that resilience so that when things change, you can observe the pattern and know that things things go, so there's an up, there's a down. Today it is up, the next time it will be down. But how do I ensure that as a person on my own, I'm building myself, and also I become of value to my organization? The next thing I'll also say is that and for any young person that is here, there are a lot of things we do as PR people that are not said or written or spoken about. And the truth is that I've told a colleague again that I think we as practitioners, we are guilty of that. We do not show the times where we have to go through a policy. We do not show a time where the government is chasing us on certain taxes that our organizations are due of, they hadn't paid, and all the stakeholder engagement we do behind the scenes. We do not speak about the times where we have product complaints that could escalate into crisis and we have been able to manage it. We are not showing the times where your MD had been called for a very big speaker engagement on thought leadership, that you really want to be there and you're struggling to write a very good speech that will put your MD out there. All those things are not written about and we don't see them. It will be important for us to know that the profession is not all that glamorous, right? There's a back behind the scenes, behind the kitchen where the tomatoes are chopped, where all those things are done before the glam where we take the pictures. So it will be good that we do not see the profession just as I'm happy to announce that I went to this program, we did this, and you put pictures on LinkedIn. No, there is more, which is more about the strategic thinking, which I believe is what will set us apart in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. That was very insightful. Strategic thinking is one of the things that will set us apart. Resilience is also very important, and since we provide value, we must also be seen as a person of value. That was very insightful. Tofumi requested to speak. Tofumi, are you here? You can turn on your mic and share if you have a question or feedback with us. Tofumi, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me
So
now?
before Tofumi comes to speak, please, there's a feedback form. Share your feedback with us so we can serve you better. We can provide more impactful events. So kindly help us fill the form. Tofumi, are you ready to speak?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so thank you so much. I just wanted to talk more about data. So I feel like every organization, right, collect data from their consumers. And I know one thing I faced while working in PR was thinking about strategies, thinking about public relations plan. So I think we PR professionals, we need to think like data analytics, like data analysts, like in the sense that we need to kind of study the data, because the answer that we need for our plan, the answer that we need for a particular project is literally right before us. So by like studying the data of an organization, studying what the preference of the consumer, what the consumer think, and just more information about that, because data can lie. We can bring out more strategies that we can use for our campaigns, because I know that one of the issue I faced, and was thinking about different strategies and just thinking about, is this plan going to work out when I'm rolling out my campaigns for the consumers. And also, if we can just study the data of the particular organization, just request from the organization to kind of release the data gotten from the product they sell, what the data gotten from their consumers. Or we can even just check out surveys and everything, check out social media to get to kind of understand what the consumers are saying. From there we can easily pinpoint different strategies we can use for our campaign. So I just wanted to add that the future of public relations, we kind of need to find a way to just bring data analytics in it, something like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tofumi. That was very insightful. Data analytics is very important because this data will help guide our thought process. Maybe will you want to add to that to share more light on using data to back up our strategy plans and go to market? And
Absolutely,
so, all right,
absolutely.
thank you.
We live in a world where a lot of things have changed. Consumer behavior changed drastically. And we also live in a world where segmentation is very, very important and key to driving results for communication. So if we live in that world, how do you interact? How do you communicate in the language, in the time, in the preferred channel, in the way that people want? So Mabel would want you interact with her at what time, on what platform. This is the language that she uses or that she would prefer you to. And there's something we call A/B testing, right? You can have A/B testing even before you launch your campaign fully, and that gives you an idea to even test your messaging. A lot of things that you can test with that, so that by the time you move into implementation, you are able to structure your campaign in such a way that it will drive overall result for you. When we communicate, even down to the emails that we send, you send an email to, even in my office, we have this conversation all the time and we review. You send an email to a large bucket of customers or a target audience, and you maybe sent about 5 emails, and you notice that Mabel doesn't check her email. She doesn't even open it. Her open rate is 0%. Why keep sending an email to her? Maybe our communication channel is social media. You send an email to Mabel and Mabel doesn't open until 5 p.m. One of the things that we also did with our communication is we structured it in such a way that the delivery, your email doesn't even deliver to everybody at the same time, because the the tool that we use allows you to customize that delivery time, where it is delivered to Mabel when we know that Mabel will open our email to be able to read and take action. So down to the platform that we're even using, you need to understand how the platform operates. Are my target audience here? How do they want me to communicate? All of these things cannot be gotten without data. It cannot be gotten without it. I also tell people that when you're running a campaign, you must also be able to monitor. I'm running a digital campaign. I love digital a lot, right? And that is because it allows me to be able to monitor. It allows me to be able to tweak my campaign. It allows me to be able to review what is working and what is not working. It gives a lot of learnings that you can build up on to be able to drive your overall result. So you're running a campaign for 1 month, and you've been able to itemize what you want to do on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. There is nothing stopping you from going back every close of business or before you even launch the second week campaign to review the data that tells you that, oh, yes, it is working. Oh, I get a decline here. Oh, people are not liking, people are not sharing, people are not doing it. So that you are able to tweak. That is one thing I love about digital, because it gives you that opportunity. It is flexible. Use that opportunity to be able to tweak your campaign to suit your target audience. A lot of the platforms that we even consume these days, you can see that segmentation has taken over. What Mabel sees is not what you see, and that is because data is working. So as a practitioner, now more than ever, data analytics is very, very key. You must be able to interpret the data. There are a lot of people also, and I think I need to mention that there are a lot of people who see data, but they cannot interpret. You can see the data, but if you cannot interpret the data, you won't be able to make the best use of it. Interpretation of data is very key, because that is how you can get the learnings. Data is not just for you to be able to say, okay, reporting to the management to say that, oh, yesterday we had 20 downloads, 2 days ago we had 50. What does that mean? How do you utilize that for the next campaign? What does it mean to the feedback that you give to maybe the marketing team? What does it mean to the feedback that you give to the product guys to be able to refine what? So all of those things are very, very important. And if we put that into practice, when we launch our campaign and we drive our campaign, we will definitely see. It's something that I have tested, that I use on a daily basis, and I know how powerful that is and how it has helped to be able to drive the overall result of my campaign. Thank you.
Thank you. That was very insightful. There's a lot we need to learn on data analytics. Thank you, Mabel, for sharing. So we'll be rounding up. Thank you so much for our brilliant speakers. You've been wonderful. So we just each of us, I just want us to give like a minute speech, a closing note. Please, I'll be starting with Joyce.
All right, thank you. And back to what Mabel said. If you, for the first time, you're having issues understanding data, it's okay. Keep looking at it. And that's how I was able to get comfortable with numbers. Keep looking at it without necessarily understanding it. And there, it will jump out one day. You begin to understand it. The truth is that you will not be able to understand and analyze data if you keep running away from it. So keep looking, and intentionally, you begin to realize that your mind will automatically help you to pick up. But then there are tools to help you also understand data. So you can go out there and learn. But if you feel like you can't do that, just keep looking at the data, and then it will jump out at you. For me, I'll end by saying that the PR profession is a beautiful one, and you can see from all of us who have been on the call today that it is not only a call or a profession for women. And you do not only have to be able to speak eloquently to be a PR professional. You must be able to think on your feet. You must be able to understand business. You have to understand the business of business to thrive in a PR profession. However, for you to constantly become a person of value, you must learn consistently. You must continue to learn what the trends are. Be visible. PR professionals are able to change the narrative. They are able to tell stories, and also they are able to get stakeholders on board because they are visible. You would have to be visible, whatever it takes. If it will get you to put yourself in a community like the women in PR or women in public relations Nigeria or the Comms Avenue, please by all means be visible, and know that your network is your net worth. But for PR people, your network is actually almost everything. Thank you.
That was great, Joyce. Thank you. So before I move on to Leslie, please, there's a feedback on the chat. Please fill it so we can get your feedback and create better events for you. Please, Leslie, let's have your final notes. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll just run through this quickly. Basically, PR is evolving, and we're discussing the future of PR. So there are a few things that I would like us to just pay attention to as we go along into the future. There's a digital-first approach. Of course, we're not neglecting traditional media and platforms, but PR strategies need to include digital strategies alongside. It's not a plus, it's integral. They need to run pari passu. Data-driven decision making, and both people have said it already. So we need to utilize our analytics, big data, monitoring, adjusting our campaigns based on data insights. Everybody knows there's a buzz about AI. That's number 3. So AI and automation. A lot of people are becoming somewhat lazy and relying on artificial intelligence to do all of the work for them. Interestingly, if you're seasoned, you can tell when it's largely AI and very little human input. And what's going to happen eventually is that we'll be able to separate the wheat from the chaff, because the human element is what elevates whatever it is that AI generates. But AI is a big deal, and people need to learn to use these tools, AI tools and automation tools, to enhance the work that they do, not to substitute it. Personalization and micro-targeting. We've seen a rise in the influence of nano-influencers, micro-influencers, because people are niching down and there's so much information out there that people are not interested in what they're not interested in. They just focus on what they're interested in. So marketing messaging, PR messaging needs to be more targeted, micro-targeted if it's to be effective. I like the fact that Mabel spoke to that. People are getting what they want to see, what they want to hear. Messaging is targeted, otherwise it's lost. The effort is lost. Authenticity. You will also have noticed that there's a rise in people just showing what's real and what's genuine and what's authentic to them. So in our PR strategies and campaigns going forward, we need to infuse a level of authenticity so that it resonates with people. Short form video content, visual and interactive content, user generated content. That's a huge thing to think about as we're creating our strategies going forward. Then crisis management is different in the digital age than it used to be. So where before you would have a bit of time before a crisis would spiral out of control, now because of digital platforms and social media, a crisis can spiral literally at the speed of light. So we need to learn to respond at the speed of light. What that means is that we cannot wait for crisis. We need to be able to identify potential crisis points in the businesses or the services that, in the businesses or the products that are tied to the businesses or the products that we serve or the causes that we serve, so that we can mitigate them ahead and have a plan in place that we then deploy if that crisis situation arises. You can't plan for everything, but you can plan for some. And if you're ready, then you are able to activate a plan that's already in place. Measurement, ROI. What's the point of activity if you're not going to measure it? What's the point? So whatever you're doing, you should have metrics that you're looking out for, KPIs that will enable you to know whether you're performing or you're not, and then you can tweak as you go along. Joyce said something about integrating with marketing and sales. Unfortunately, as difficult as it may seem, that's the future. A lot of buying is going to be based on how people feel about what they see and hear. So if you have that strength, you're going to have an advantage over your peers. That's pretty much it. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you for the final roundup note. Maybe please round up for us. We are very sorry about extending the time. We're supposed to end by 9 p.m. So maybe please just give us your last words.
So I would try and make it very quick. For me, my last word would be know your onion. Know what you're doing. As a PR practitioner, you must truly know this job. A lot of things are happening. A lot of young talents are coming in. There's digital to compete with. So you must definitely know what you're doing across whatever industry that you are in. Number 2 for me would be for you to be passionate. I love what I do. I love this profession. So even when there are a lot of, when you meet some obstacles on the way, what drives me is the fact that I'm passionate about this. This is what I have done over time in my career. So you have to be passionate about it, especially when there is crisis. If you manage clients or you've worked in an industry where crisis upon crisis, it's only the passion that can drive you constantly. Another thing again for me is you need to keep evolving. You need to keep evolving because this profession requires you to speak to people, requires you to get buy-in from customers, requires you to get buy-in from consumers whose behavior constantly changes every day. So you need to be evolving as the world is evolving and as their behavior is also evolving. Another part for me would be you need to be creative. You need to put people that have worked with me or that I have worked with, one of the things that I say is I put my touch in whatever it is that I do. AI is taking over, digital is taking over. What would keep you on the job is that you constantly put on the job, because you know what, when you do it well, nobody can do it as much as you do it. yes, everybody will bring in something on board, but the way you would do it will be different from the way others would do it. So you have to ensure that you put your touch in whatever it is that you do in this profession to remain relevant. Another thing for me is originality. Originality is key, and I'm laying emphasis on AI because a lot of things are out there. People can access that communication that you want to write. People can access, they can put it up somewhere and then write it. But what keeps it different from what they've gotten on digital platform is the originality that you put in it. So as a PR practitioner that wants to remain relevant in this field, you have to be original. You must ensure that what you bring on board is original, and then be creative with your work. And lastly, for me, is you have to be able to think on your feet. You have to be able to, especially when you begin to manage bigger clients, bigger industry. You have to be able to think on your feet, so that you also don't create crisis for yourself, for the organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to our speakers. We are grateful for your time, for spending so much and sharing so much knowledge with us. We are grateful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Please, for everyone that joined in, we are grateful. We want to say thank you. Out of all the places you could be, you decided to spend your time with us. Thank you. Please follow us on our social media pages so you are updated with industry news, latest trainings, and more information, resources on growth. Please, we also shared a feedback form on the chat. Please fill the form so we can create better events for you. Thank you very much to our speakers. We are very, very grateful. Do enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Everyone, bye.
Thank you very much, everyone. Good night.
Good night.